A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant show of defiance against the British government's recent ban on Palestine Action, London witnessed its largest protest in support of the group since it was classified as a terrorist organization last month. On Saturday, August 9, 2025, the Metropolitan Police arrested at least 200 individuals during a demonstration in Parliament Square, with organizers claiming that only a fraction of the attendees were detained. The police, however, refuted this claim, stating that anyone visibly supporting Palestine Action was either arrested or in the process of being apprehended. The government's controversial ban on Palestine Action followed a series of protests where activists broke into a military airbase, causing significant damage estimated at £7 million to 2 aircraft. The Home Office has reiterated that the group is suspected of involvement in serious attacks that have led to violence and extensive criminal damage, prompting critics to label the ban as an infringement on freedom of speech and assembly. Critics, including international organizations like the United Nations, Amnesty International, and Greenpeace, have condemned the government's actions. They argue that the ban represents a legal overreach and poses a direct threat to civil liberties in the UK. A group called Defend Our Juries, which organized the protest, emphasized that unprecedented numbers of people were willing to risk arrest to defend their rights and liberties. As protesters gathered in Parliament Square, they displayed signs with slogans such as "Oppose Genocide," "Support Palestine Action," and "Wave Palestinian Flags." Among the demonstrators was psychotherapist Craig Bell, who criticized the government's classification of Palestine Action as a terrorist organization, calling it absolutely ridiculous. He argued that comparing the group to actual terrorist organizations was a mockery of the term. The police's response to the protest was swift, with officers moving in to make arrests. Demonstrators responded by applauding those being detained and expressing solidarity with one another. Richard Bull, a wheelchair user at the protest, stated, "Let them arrest us all. This government has gone too far. I have nothing to feel ashamed of." The ban on Palestine Action has sparked a wave of protests across the UK, with over 200 individuals already detained in previous demonstrations since the legislation took effect in July. The Metropolitan Police have warned that membership in or support for the group is now a criminal offense, punishable by up to 14 years in prison under the Terrorism Act 2000. Despite the threat of arrest, supporters of Palestine Action have remained undeterred. Al Jazeera's reporting from the scene highlighted that even wearing a t-shirt in support of the group could lead to arrest. The ongoing protests have garnered international attention, with more than 350 academics signing an open letter expressing their support for the movement and condemning the government's actions. The letter, which included signatures from prominent scholars and political thinkers, emphasized the repressive consequences of the ban and its potential impact on academic freedom in the UK. The protests are part of a broader campaign against what supporters see as the UK government's complicity in Israeli actions in Gaza, where a military offensive has resulted in thousands of Palestinian casualties. In addition to the protests organized by Defend Our Juries, a separate march by the Palestine Coalition also took place on the same day, with one individual arrested for displaying a banner supporting Palestine Action. Amnesty International UK has condemned the arrests of peaceful protesters, asserting that such actions violate the UK's international obligations to protect freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. The situation remains tense as the protests continue to unfold. Palestine Action has increasingly targeted companies linked to Israel in the UK, accusing the government of complicity in war crimes. The group's spokesperson, Manal Siddiqui, has pointed out that the military aircraft damaged during the protests are used to support Israeli military operations. As the protests continue to gain momentum, the British government faces mounting pressure from both domestic and international communities. The ongoing demonstrations are not only a challenge to the ban on Palestine Action, but also a broader fight for civil liberties in the face of government repression. With plans for further actions in September already in the works, it remains to be seen how the government will respond to this growing movement and what implications it will have for the future of free speech and assembly in the UK. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.